Music is subjective. To a point. Now, music has been around since the beginning of time. No, literally, I looked it up, and apparently cavemen made music. I didn't know that, but now I know that. Literally, since the beginning of time, people have been listening to music and making music, and it's always been preference-based, to an extent. Now, obviously, there are going to be some people that are going to say,
No, obviously, it's 100% based on what I like.
and then they go on and say their favorite artists are Taylor Swift, Benson Boone, and Olivia Rodrigo. Not saying any of those are necessarily terrible artists. We'll get to that later in the video. But to an extent, music is purely based on what the individual person likes to listen to. But I would also like to argue that's not always the case. I would love for someone to try and argue that Michael Jackson, Elvis Presley, and Prince are terrible music artists, because it's just not true. To say they are terrible music artists are to say Gordon Ramsay and frickin' Bobby Flay are like terrible chefs. It's like, no. They have awards, they have credibility, they have all these things that somewhat prove they are great chefs. Just like all these artists that have all this credibility, all these awards that in a sense prove they are objectively good artists. Now, whether or not you listen to these artists and actually like care about these artists, that is subjective. But the objective part about it is that they are globally recognized as amazing and some of the best artists that have ever lived. And that's just a fact. But today what I want to argue is that not all music and artists make good music. Now, obviously, like I said, subjective, people like what they like, but I have a handy dandy little chart that I made that I'm going to go over and explain to you what I believe are objectively good artists, objectively bad artists, subjectively good artists, subjectively bad artists, and a secret category that I have hidden that we will discover at the end of the video. So stay tuned for that. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and let's look at that beautiful chart that I have made up. Alright, we got our handy dandy chart right here. First off, we got objectively good music. Then we got subjectively good music, subjectively bad music, and objectively bad music. That was really hard to say, so y'all better appreciate this. First off, we'll start with objectively good music. Okay, so bubble number one, we have the objectively good artists. Some artists like the Beatles, Bob Dylan, Michael Jackson, Elvis Presley, Chuck Berry, Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, people like that. It's really hard to find objectively good artists, especially nowadays, since music is so diverse that everybody can collectively agree on that these artists are the best of all time to ever do it. But legends like these that I just named, those are objectively some of the best artists and bands of all time. Like, period. No debate. So I feel like that is where the objective comes into play, because the ability to debate whether artists are good or bad is obviously, people do it all the time. People do it with every genre, every artist, all music. They debate artists they like and don't like and whether they think they're good or bad. These artists are ones that no matter what debate you get into with any person, besides literally the smallest majority of people who just want to be different, who just genuinely hate music, which that's a whole nother video that I can make about that. Nobody really hates music, but aside from that, whatever debate you may be having with someone, you literally cannot tell me that these artists are not just genuinely amazing, great artists that are like some of the best music makers and singers of all time. Like, there's no debating that. That's just factual. And the crazy thing is that these artists in this category, you could tell someone the name Ray Charles, Chuck Berry, and they may never have heard a song from these artists, but they know the name and they know, oh, that's like one of the best music artists of all time. They already know that they're great without even hearing their music, which I feel like is definitely like helping their case of being the greatest of all time and being objectively good, great, amazing, legendary artists without a shadow of a doubt. Because if you know someone without actually knowing them, then the impact they have is far greater than anything you could do, because it's ingrained in their mind. They've heard the name, they know they're great. Either they've heard it from their parents or from music critics that have told them, which music critics, I got a gripe with them. But anyway, it's something that is crazy because you don't know the artist, but you know their music is great, which just makes the artist even more special and great in the long run, which is just kind of mind-boggling. Next, we have the in-between between objectively good and subjectively good. And this is kind of where I feel like a lot of modern artists are that are considered greats but aren't at the Michael Jackson, Elvis, Bob Dylan level. And that would be artists that I would say like Frank Ocean and Zach Bryan. Some people that make amazing music and that critics and people rave about and love and have made classic albums in their respective genres and just overall. And it's weird because it's hard to put them in that like legendary status yet, although in my opinion Frank Ocean is. Again, that's the subjective part. I believe Frank Ocean is already a legendary artist, while some may think that they aren't, but that's where the subjective comes in. But objectively, the music speaks for itself. I feel like in this case, for this category, it's hard to debate on someone like a Frank Ocean because of the category, the catalog size, but the music that he has put out and the impact he has had through his music, short-lived music career, is some of the most impactful R&B artistry we have seen ever, which is crazy. But it's also in that in-between category because I feel like half the people are going to say he's objectively one of the best R&B singers to ever do it. The other half is going to say, yes, he's one of the greatest R&B singers, but I can't put him in that Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder level simply because he doesn't have the catalog yet. Which, again, that's the subjective half. Objective half, his music is absolutely amazing, all of it. The other subjective half is that he doesn't have the catalog yet, so it's hard to put him in that objectively good music place. And again, I'm going to remind you all, this whole entire video is my subjective opinion on objective versus subjective music. And if it's different than what you think, that's totally fine. And I respect it, but in my opinion, this is how it is. So let me know in the comments if you think I got everything screwed up and I'm just completely wrong about either some of the artists I've talked about or just my opinion on this subject in general and music in general. So, and that's totally fine, but that's why I'm making this video. Now we got subjectively good and subjectively bad. Now I'm going to talk about the two subjective categories altogether, because I feel like this is where 95% of artists come into play. Because honestly, there are not a lot of objectively good and objectively bad artists ever. So I'd say 95% of the artists that have released music are in this category, because any artist is going to have, obviously, their number one fan, biggest listener, they love all their music, whatever. That is the 0.0000001% of their fan base. And so it's hard to really take that into account. That's an outlier. We're going to take that out of the equation. Just talk about the majority of the public's opinion of this person's music. And like I said, this is where almost all artists, you could debate, are they a good artist? Are they a bad artist? I don't know. It depends who the artist is. I feel like, obviously, the big ones today, Taylor Swift. Half of the people love her music, teenage girls with relationship issues, and the other half, all men, shouldn't say all men, most men that hate Taylor Swift, just flat out hate Taylor Swift. I don't like Taylor Swift. Take that as you will. But other artists like Benson Boone, like a Bruno Mars, like a Sabrina Carpenter, all these modern music artists that are huge right now and have been huge for a little while, besides like Benson Boone, but like, say, a Harry Styles, say Ed Sheeran, like these people, like, you could debate whether they make good music for hours, because obviously there are super fans, like I said, they're obviously super haters, so in the middle, it's hard to say whether more people like their music and more people hate their music, because there's no way to really find that out. There's no information or study you could do to find out whether someone's music is like loved by most people or hated by most people. There's just nothing. You can't do that. Obviously, you could do a study, like a small percentage of the population, but it's not. I feel like it wouldn't be accurate, because it depends on so many factors, so many things, and I just don't think it'd be accurate if you did that. So we're in this in-between spot where, yeah, like, I feel like most people would either have a strong opinion on the artist, whether they're good or bad, but that doesn't mean their music itself is good or bad, which is where that subjective obviously comes into play, because it's people's opinion. And to say that these artists and this subjectively good, subjectively bad category are either good or bad, that's not my place, because, like I said, there are going to be people who love this person's music. I don't want to disrespect them and say that this person is a terrible artist. This person is an amazing artist. Obviously, we're going to get to the objectively bad category, but I feel like that's going to be the smallest percentage of music out of all these. And I like what I like. Other people like what they like. That's why I said 95% of music artists and music in general is in this kind of weird in-between space that you can't really debate that they're one of the greatest artists of all time or one of the worst artists of all time. You just kind of have to let it be that they're in between. Like, it's impossible to put them on one of the polar opposites. finally, we got objectively bad before our secret category. The objectively bad category. Now, I'm not going to say that everybody's music catalog is terrible, because every single artist of every single genre does not have all bad songs. Obviously, the majority of the songs in this person's catalog that I'm going to talk about, it sucks. Let's be honest. They suck. Flat out. Like, if you like this person's music, I'm sorry, you're wrong. You are wrong. If you debated me, if you debated a music critic, you are going to lose your argument that this person makes good music. I'm sorry. Like, you can get mad at me all you want, but in my opinion, in music critics' opinion, in the public's opinion, for the most part, they make bad music. I'm sorry, but that's just how it is. Now, when I was preparing this video, the weird thing that I noticed when researching what people objectively thought were the worst artists like ever, what I found is that like almost all of them are either one, country artists, or two, pop punk bands, and then you got 6ix9ine and a few other various rappers that are objectively bad. But the majority of them were either country artists or pop punk bands. Now, obviously it makes sense because I feel like these are the two genres that get made fun of the most and have the most like genuine haters of the genre and of these artists. But some of them, it's like, I don't know, is Toby Keith really that bad? Is Fall Out Boy really that bad? I don't think so, but that's my opinion. But researching this, those are some of the answers I found. One article said 50 Cent was the worst music artist of all time. Don't ask me. But then you get to someone like a 6ix9ine, like a Lil Pump, like a Smoke Perp. These are just bad rappers. They're terrible. Like, they put all their effort into the production of the songs and then just absolutely crap on it with their rapping. Like, it sucks. It's terrible. I'm sorry. Majority of your songs suck. If you like these artists, fine. Whatever. But you're wrong if you want to debate that they're overall a good artist, because they're not. And like I said, with the objectively good artists, objectively bad artists, there's honestly not that many, because most of them fit in that bubble of subjectively good bad. Now, there is one more category that I would like to talk about, and we are going to talk about it right now. And for our secret category, can you guess who it is? Can you guess what it is? It's JoJo Siwa. Almost ripped my bulletin board off the wall. It's JoJo Siwa. If you like JoJo Siwa's music, are you okay mentally, physically, emotionally? No, you're not. Okay, just admit it. Like, it's okay. JoJo Siwa makes music for people who want to be deaf, or people that are deaf. I can't explain how much hate JoJo Siwa gets, because it's just constantly growing. There's no reason that you should have to defend her music, because one, it sucks. Two, she's put all the effort in and clearly she's not good at it. And three, the amount of auto-tune that she uses and still sounds terrible, and you can't understand a word that she pronounces, is unbelievable. How does anyone sound that bad with that amount of auto-tune and that amount of production and people that actually know what they're doing behind the scenes? How do you still sound that bad? Please, somebody in the comments, answer that question. How does she genuinely sound that bad with all this help that she's gotten? And people have allowed her to release music that sounds bad, and I'm sure they know it sounds bad too, but just don't let her release it. Like, obviously it's her life, she can do what she wants, but just be like,
hey, this isn't it. This ain't it. Let's just hold this one back.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I genuinely don't understand. If you listen to JoJo Siwa, please go get help. I strongly believe you have something wrong in your brain. If you genuinely listen to JoJo Siwa on a regular basis for enjoyment, you're wrong. Go get help, please. Anyway, if you liked the video, please like and subscribe, like I said, and I will continue to make music content like this. I will see you in the next video. Peace.